I'm gonna share a formula to change your future. And we'll begin this by thanking Diana Kokoska and Ed Milet for teaching this to me. There is a fundamental basis that each of us starts with and then builds our lives on. That basis becomes the current story of our life. Think about this as a set of habits that continue to play out in a similar pattern, yielding similar results time after time. If you have children, or think back to when you were a child, story time was a treat. Why? Well, there are heroes, villains, victims, mentors, and these stories captivate us, and we're instantly teleported to a new place that we see and actually feel ourselves in. When you read a great book or watch an awesome movie, you are in the story, while in fact, you're reading words or watching lights flicker on a screen. What happens is your blood pressure rises, the hair on your neck stands up, your adrenaline flows, your heart aches, and at times, tears of joy might even flow. How does this happen, you ask? Well, it's because each of us has a current story of our life, one that we fear or worry it may become, and also one that we hope and dream our life will become. The one we dream of and the one we fear never happen for most. Why? Well, for most, the safe or comfortable place is to repeat the current and familiar story over and over. Well, with constant repetition, this story develops deep roots, forms a set of habits that turn into a pattern, and then become the life that we live. Warren Buffett has a great quote on this. He says, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too strong to be broken." At this point, it is important to note, the story that we tell ourselves either limits or liberates us. Remember, we talked about heroes, villains, victims, and coaches and mentors. If you are the hero or coach in the story, you're overcoming challenges, advancing production, sharing wisdom, growing, achieving success, and being liberated. If you are the villain or victim, you're acting immorally, taking from someone, using power that you have to harm, or someone has wronged you and you're being limited. Take a moment and think, what story are you living right now? Have you considered what is making movies, TV, and gaming so popular? Think about it. They are temporary pauses, temporary escapes from the current story, the current reality. Do you want more happiness, health, and wealth? If so, I have great news for you. You have the ability to put yourself in a new and better story right now. When you do this, your life changes. The reason for this is because the most important person we tell our stories to is ourselves. All right, let's recap and wrap this up. You have a habitual way of thinking that forms a pattern. In order to change your story and thus your life, the first step is that you must choose to break and then change this pattern of thoughts. As my high school football coach, Max Bass, told us, you got to get rid of that stinking thinking. Max didn't share a formula, so here's the formula Diana Kokoska taught me. It's N-A-C-F. N. Notice a thought that does not serve you. Record it for future thought time. Then ask, who would I be without this thought? How would I feel without this thought? Be intentional, be honest with yourself here. It's okay to feel uncomfortable with this thought, right? That's why you're thinking through, who would I be without it? What would I feel without it? Then choose what thought you desire to have and create an I am statement around it that you repeat daily when the other thought shows up. This allows you to focus on the new thought and the new way of being. So notice, ask, choose, focus. Here's a personal example. I noticed that at times, responses to those I love were harsher than what I intended. I asked myself, who would I be without that? How would I feel without it? And more importantly, how would those I love feel? It was a little uncomfortable. I had to realize that this was programming I had received, and I had to reprogram it. So I chose to respond in love and created the following focus statement that I now am intentional on in creating a new story. I am patient. I am kind. I always protect. I always trust. I always hope. I always persevere. I never fail. The formula, again, is notice, ask, choose, and focus. I appreciate you and wish you all the best. Crush it. We're stronger together.